He was refused by the greatest teacher in the world, so he went into the forest alone, built a statue of that teacher out of clay, and taught himself. He practiced every single day, alone, in silence, with no one watching. And when he became better than every student that teacher had ever trained, the teacher came to find him and asked for his thumb. In the world of the Mahabharata, your birth determined your possibilities. A kshatriya could be a warrior, a brahmin could be a scholar, a nishada could be neither. But Eklavya had watched the great warriors of Hastinapur his whole life. He had watched Arjuna train. He had heard the name Dronacharya, the greatest teacher of archery who had ever lived. And he had decided, with the particular quiet certainty of someone who has nothing to lose, that he was going to learn. He went to Dronacharya's Gurukul, the most prestigious school of warfare in the land. He stood at the gate and he asked to be taught. Drona looked at him, a tribal boy, a nishada, not a kshatriya, not the son of a king. Drona had made a promise to his royal students, especially to Arjuna, that he would make Arjuna the greatest archer in the world. Accepting Eklavya would threaten that promise. So Drona refused him, turned him away at the gate, sent him back to the forest. That door closed, and Eklavya walked back into the trees, alone. But here is the thing about Eklavya. He did not argue, he did not beg, he did not give up. He simply changed his plan. He returned to the forest, and he built a statue, a clay figure of Dronacharya, precise, reverential, as detailed as his hands could make it. He placed it under a tree, and every morning, before he touched his bow, he bowed to it, offered flowers to it, treated it as his guru, as his teacher, as the living presence of the knowledge he had been denied. And then he practiced, day after day, month after month, year after year. Alone in the forest, with a clay statue as his only witness, Eklavya became an archer. One day, the Pandavas came hunting in the same forest. Their dog ran ahead of the group, barking, making noise, disturbing the forest quiet. And then the dog went silent. When they found it, they stopped. The dog's mouth had been sealed with 7 arrows, placed so precisely that not one had drawn blood. The dog was completely unharmed, just silenced. The Pandavas had never seen archery like this. Nobody had. Arjuna felt something he had never felt before. He went to Drona. He said, "You promised me I would be the greatest archer in the world." Who did this? Drona did not know. But he had to find out. Drona went into the forest and found Eklavya, still practicing, still bowing to the clay statue every morning. And Drona asked, "Who is your guru?" Eklavya pointed to the statue. He said, "You are, you have always been. I am your student. I have been your student since the day you turned me away." Drona looked at the boy he had refused, looked at the statue made of clay, understood what had been built here, in this forest, in secret, without him. And then he asked for payment. In the tradition of the Gurukul, when a student completes their education, they offer their guru a Dakshina, a gift, a fee, a payment for the knowledge received. It was sacred. It was the student's highest act of gratitude. Drona looked at Eklavya and named his price. The right thumb of his right hand, the thumb an archer uses to draw a bowstring, the thumb without which no archer can shoot. Drona, the greatest teacher of archery in the world, asked the greatest archer he had never taught to give up the one thing that made him great. Eklavya did not hesitate. Without argument, without question, without a moment of visible pain, he cut off his right thumb and placed it in Drona's hand. That's it. No speech, no last arrow, no final demonstration of what was about to be lost. Just a boy, a knife, and a clay statue watching. Different scholars read this moment differently. Some say Drona was protecting the social order. A tribal boy becoming the world's greatest archer would have overturned every hierarchy the Kuru kingdom was built on. Some say he was simply keeping a promise to Arjuna. Some say the Mahabharata itself is ambivalent. It tells the story without condemning Drona outright, which is either wisdom or cowardice depending on how you read it. What nobody disputes is this: Eklavya was the greatest archer who ever lived, and the system, the teacher, the promise, the Varna, the Dakshina, found a way to make sure that greatness would never threaten the right people. Here is what the Mahabharata tells us next. It doesn't end Eklavya's story there. He appears again, years later, as a warrior, fighting on the side of Jarasandha against Krishna. He is still a formidable fighter. Some traditions say he adapted, learned to shoot with his other fingers. Some say he simply transcended the loss. The legend of Eklavya, the boy who taught himself by bowing to a statue, outlived everyone in that story. Drona died at Kurukshetra. Arjuna's line ended. The Kuru dynasty was dust. Eklavya's name is still spoken. His statue is still built by archers in India, who consider him the first patron of self-taught skill. Here is the question I keep returning to. Was Eklavya's devotion to Drona, giving the thumb without hesitation, the most beautiful act in the Mahabharata? Or was it the saddest? Because he genuinely believed Drona was his guru. He had built his entire inner life around that relationship, and Drona came and took the one thing that made it real. So I want to ask you, was Eklavya's devotion strength or conditioning? Was giving the thumb wisdom or tragedy? And, most importantly, is there a difference? Drop your answer below. I read every single one. And if you want to see what happens when a god himself takes the form of a teacher and saves the world by drinking its poison, Shiva's story is next. Subscribe, and I'll see you then.